Welcome to Just Asia, AHRC TV's weekly human rights program. These are the headlines. Extrajudicial killings in Sri Lanka. Pakistan court sentences Ahmadis to death. Contempt case filed against Nepal's Inspector General of Police for not arresting murderer. 3 years of Widodo government show little human rights improvement in Indonesia. Indian Navy discharges sailor for obtaining sex change. 3 urgent appeals from Indonesia, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Welcome to AHRC TV's Just Asia. I'm Annie Lin. This week, Just Asia begins with Sri Lanka, where a man was shot dead by the Special Task Force of the police while traveling with his friends in a car on Monday. The car came under heavy fire from a vehicle following them at 1 p.m. and their driver stopped the car. Police officers in camouflage dress came up to 35-year-old Kushan's vehicle and arrested all those inside the car. Kushan was shot, falling down on the floor of the vehicle. When the officers brought him to the hospital, doctors pronounced him dead. The police later issued a media release stating that the Special Task Force had been following persons about to commit a crime, and they only began firing after the vehicle fired on them first. Such random and arbitrary killings by police are common in Sri Lanka. In fact, last week, the Asian Human Rights Commission issued a statement documenting 10 extrajudicial killings within the past 12 months. According to the regional rights group, 9 killings, including 1 attempted killing, occurred in various Sri Lankan police stations, while 1 occurred in a prison. The killings indicate the negligent value of human life by the police, as well as the utter lack of command responsibility within the police force. The AHRC particularly noted how the officers in charge and assistant superintendents of police are not following their mandates and allowing lawlessness to reign within police stations. Just Asia speaks to Basil Fernando, the AHRC's Director for Policy and Program Development, for further analysis.
Asian Human Rights Commission last week reported 10 extrajudicial killings taking place in the last 10 months. And there were 1 or 2 cases reported even after that. There is nothing surprising about the report itself. Such extrajudicial killings are happening all the time, and the problem really is why there is no attempt at all to stop this despite of reports. The simple truth is that the Sri Lankan government has lost the capacity to stop such killings. The reason is the officers who should be acting to stop it are in fact playing a part to cover these cases up, and they themselves are part of it. These officers are known as the Assistant Superintendents of Police, or ASPs. Every police station has an ASP to supervise it, and he is responsible for every serious occurrence in these police stations. If they do properly supervise, if they give instructions, they definitely can stop these killings. Immediately acting below the ASP is the officer in charge of police station. It is these 2 categories of officers, ASPs and the officer in charge of police stations, that must be held responsible for not doing their duties to stop these killings. In fact, they are conniving with these killings because they have lost simply control over the processes of arrest and detention, which is handed over to illiterate and highly untrained police officers. They do in whatever the way they like, and the results are these deaths. Is a callousness with which the life is treated by these officers is a reflection of the carelessness with which the government is looking into this issue.
Next, in Pakistan, a sessions court sentenced 3 Ahmadis to death on blasphemy charges. The court verdict came within hours of a hate speech delivered at the National Assembly, denigrating the much persecuted Ahmadi minority for being a threat to Pakistan's national ideology. The 3 men, Mubashir Ahmed, Ghulam Ahmed, and Eshan Ahmed, tore down posters outside the Ahmadi Mosque on 11 May 2014, calling on the people of Boywell village to kill Ahmadis and ostracize them. They were then arrested on the charges of deliberate and malicious acts intended to outrage religious feelings. During the hearing, the court added Section 295C, use of derogatory remarks in respect of the Prophet, to the charges, and the Islamabad Court of Sessions sentenced them to death on 12 October 2017. This brings the total number of persons charged with blasphemy on death row to 8. Pakistan lifted its moratorium on the death penalty in December 2014, and some 600 persons have been executed since then. Most of these are persons accused of being terrorists and sentenced summarily by military courts. In Nepal, a contempt of court case has been filed at the Supreme Court against Inspector General of Police IGP Prakash Ayal, accusing him of ignoring the top court's order to detain murder comic Bal Krishna Dungal, a CPN Mao Center leader. Bal Krishna Dungal was found guilty of killing Ujjan Kumar Shrestha of Okaldunga in 1998. Senior advocate Dinesh Tripathi filed the contempt case on Tuesday, claiming failure to arrest the murder convict is a willful disobedience and gross negligence on the part of the government's law enforcing agency. Tripathi argued that IGP Ayal did not make any effort to arrest Dungal, even as he was freely participating in functions in the capital city of Kathmandu 6 months after the Supreme Court ordered to arrest him within a week. The Supreme Court had given the order to arrest Dungal in April 2017. The petitioner has also demanded the court to order the government to form a high-level task force immediately and report on the whereabouts of Dungal within the next 24 hours, besides forming a special mechanism to supervise the arrest. Advocate Tripathi has also demanded 1 year imprisonment and a 10,000 Nepali rupees fine for IGP Ayal as per the Judicial Administration Act 2016, Section 17(1). Moving to Indonesia, this month marks 3 years of President Joko Widodo's administration after his inauguration on 20th October 2014. It is unfortunate that the past 3 years have seen little improvement in the protection of human rights in Indonesia. None of the 9 cases of past human rights abuses has been investigated by the Attorney General, AG, with the President making no effort to move the process along. In the past 3 years, the government has executed 18 death row inmates. Between 2016 and 17, the court has sentenced 44 persons to death, most of whom are drug dealers. Torture remains a serious problem in Indonesia, with the police, military, and prison guards being the dominant perpetrators of torture. There has also been no improvement in the situation of Papua, where human rights violations against indigenous persons continue, while police and military officers enjoy impunity. President Widodo's government is more interested in developing infrastructure rather than improving the standard of human rights protection. The Indian Navy has initiated proceedings to discharge sailor Sabi Giri on grounds that she had undergone sex reassignment surgery last year. Sabi, who had joined the Navy as an 18-year-old male, had felt uncomfortable with her gender identity for some time. Finally, in October 2016, she took the decision to fully transition into a female, paying for her surgery out of her own pocket while on leave. After this fact was discovered by her colleagues and superior officers, Giri was shunned and later sent to a male psychiatric ward for 6 months. Finally, in August 2017, the Navy decided to terminate her employment. It is ironic and unfortunate that while Sabi was recruited by the Navy without any experience or training as a man, as an experienced woman, she is no longer welcome. Giri wants to challenge her discharge, willing to take the fight for her rights to India's Supreme Court. It is illogical and discriminatory for the Indian Navy to continue to permit women to only serve in a limited capacity, and it is hoped that this case can change the narrative. Finally, the Urgent Appeals Weekly features 3 cases from Indonesia, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. In Indonesia, Papuan high school student Yunus Maunari was brutally tortured for refusing to hand over his motorcycle to the police. Not having the vehicle's document, as well as a driving license, the police beat Yunus until he fainted. After taking him to the police station, they continued to torture him and threatened to shoot him dead at a shooting range. In the Pakistani village of Dharamsal, which is a few hundred meters away from the line of control dividing Kashmir into Pakistani and Indian administered parts, people are living with violence and fear since 13 August 2017. The Indian Army is unremittingly targeting the civilian population with mortar guns and other automatic machine guns. Schools are closed and the only road going in and out of the village is closed to any kind of transportation and movement. In Sri Lanka, 3 young women were reported missing on 14 October 2017. After the relatives lodged police complaints, the 3 women reported to the police station on October 18. They were produced before the Colombo Magistrates Court and remanded. It has still not come to light as to who was responsible for abducting and detaining these young women. That is all for this episode of Just Asia. For more on these and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia or www.ahlrc.asia/justasia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.